Final question. In 2025, between being black, Christian, conservative, or a Zionist, likely Israel draws the most attacks online.
I think this could be the game. I think you would say yes.
I think you would say no.
I would say yes.
Damn it.
The Zionists would. Hold on, did I get his right?
You did.
I did, let's go. Yes, I would, certainly. I don't know that that would have been the case 3 years ago, but now it is, because the left has been anti-Zionist for decades at this point. And certainly the popular left, if not the establishment left. Now some of the establishment left is anti-Zionist, and parts of the right are anti-Zionist. I mean, I guess in principle, I'm not a Zionist in that I don't agree with the religious or historical claims of Zionism, but I'm broadly supportive of Israel, which is, so they would probably call me a Zionist, even though I'm really not, because I'm Catholic. But now that's like the Z word. It's like you just call it anybody. Oh, it's like what neocon used to be. Both often referred to Jews, I'm noticing. But it's like you're a Zionist, you're a neocon. The word almost doesn't seem to have a concrete meaning anymore. But I think today, much more so than if you say I'm Christian, I'm a white guy, I'm a black guy. I think so, right?
I have to agree. You know, if it were a few years ago, I don't think that would have been the case. I think there always would have been some sentiment of people being annoyed, but then, and low-key still now, people didn't even know what Zionist meant back in the day. Yeah. But now it's like, I get grief for everything that I do on the internet.
People don't know what it means now. I mean, when I say I'm not a Zionist, it's because I don't agree with the political ideology of Theodore Herzl. It's not that I don't have a kind of broad affection or support for the state of Israel, or because I don't like Jews or something like that, which is, I think when people use that word now, they're basically saying like, yeah, just like Jew, or like you guy who doesn't hate Jews, or you know, like that's not what the word means, but it's just come to take that on. It's
one of those words that's just so overexposed. Yeah. It's like people have no idea, but you know, I get flack just like you do for everything that I say online. Like I could say that the sky is blue today and people are going to be mad at me, but the intensity of the hatred that I get.
But you would call yourself a Zionist.
I am a Zionist. Yeah. You know, and I don't necessarily agree with Herzl's ideology either. He was very, very progressive, but I do very much stand with, you know, the premise of why Israel is what
you would say the Jewish people as a tribe, have an eternal right to the Holy Land.
I do believe that. And the amount of hate that I get, the amount of death threats that I get, it's a different level of intensity.
When did you come to, because I would say, you know, I have a kind of practical, prudential affection for the state of Israel, and I have a sort of personal affection for Jews because I grew up in New York and Los Angeles, and I like a good bagel.
Shout out to the Jews.
But I don't, you know, being a Catholic, I don't think there's some like special legal right that the Jewish people have as an entity to, you know, an eternal claim to this land. I mean, I think they fought a war, so that's one right to land. They had a UN declaration, they had the Balfour Declaration. So it's like, I think there are all these kind of practical political rights, but I wouldn't, you know, I ideologically, I don't really buy it. But were you always a Zionist?
You know, I didn't really have too much of an opinion on what was going on there before 2023. So how it really started was in June of 2023. I went just on vacation there. I just wanted to go see the Christian sites. I wanted to go see Tel Aviv, go see Jerusalem, go do it all. And I got so much hate just for being there. And then I didn't know that anti-Semitism was still a thing. Like I didn't grow up around a lot of Jews. I grew up in Central Illinois. So it was like the two kids in my school were Jewish. One I didn't even know was Jewish until he reached out to me thanking me for what I say now. I'm like, you're Jewish? So
wait, hold on. Shlomo Shmuleystein, you're Jewish? Right. I had no idea.
I didn't see the Stein there. Like I had no idea. So I got all this hate just for being there when I said that I was there on Twitter. And I asked my Jewish friends, I'm like, this is still happening? And they're like, oh yes. I'm oh. So then I looked deeper into it. I'm like, a lot of the people who hate Jews, like really it has nothing to do with Israel. It's just they're broke, bitter, and ghetto and jealous. And they're like, oh, well, Jews are so successful. It's like, okay, well, go get a job. Okay. It's like, why are so many Jewish people successful? Choices. Why are so many black people criminals? Choices. Like just being objective about it. You made the choice, pick a struggle. So one of my first walk with me, since I do this series with my Air One smoothies and everything, one of my first ones was about how anti-Semitism is ghetto. And when October 7th happened, I was baffled by how quickly the narrative switched online. Like before the day had even ended, people were denying that October 7th happened, saying that Israel deserved it, all this stuff. So then at that point, I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just really going to start airing my piece about how I feel about this conflict. So I really accidentally, like very organically, I guess is a better word, would say that I just ended up adopting this massive Jewish following and becoming really well known in Israel. I didn't expect that to happen. I just thought that people were being ghetto online, and I called it out like I do everything else.
Yeah, so that happens sometimes. I mean, is you get exposed to something, you say like, well, all right, whatever. I'm not that. Whatever the opposite of like that thing that I find ugly is. I totally agree. I have the least popular opinion, which is that I'm broadly supportive of the Israel and I like the Jews, but I also don't like agree with the premises of Zionism. So everyone has a reason to attack me.
It's like, oh, are you allowed to say that?
Yeah, I know you're certainly not. But okay, before I let you go, the moon landing. You said you brought it up, and I didn't know if it was going to be in the final round, but
a lie from the pit of hell. There is no way.
What?
Please, because why can't we go back? We didn't even have cell phones back then. That was the mid-1900s. And you're telling me that they made it all the way to the moon? Gail King could barely get to space and come back. And you're telling me that we went to the moon? I just don't believe it.
Is it possible, though? Because you're saying basically now we can't do a thing. And we used to be able to do a thing. So that's implausible. But I think that's true about a lot of things. Like we used to be able to do philosophy really well in like the Middle Ages. And now we're philosophically idiots. So is it, we used to be able to have true religion and worship. And now we're like, the God is a spaghetti monster, whatever nonsense they say on Reddit. So it's like, is it possible that we just got worse at something?
You know, there is an element of truth to that, but the reason that I feel like there's a few reasons why people are getting dumber. It's social media, it's artificial sugars, and pornography are frying people's brains. So that's why we have fewer intelligent people that are in the world, but we still have brilliant minds out there. And it's like, have any other nations been to the moon yet? You're telling me that China and Russia don't want to go to the moon?
Why wouldn't they have said it was a hoax? Why wouldn't the Soviet Union have said it's a hoax?
The world is being just ruled by satanic globalists who want us all to be dirt poor and eat bugs. Okay. So when it's all said and done, it's like there's probably some type of handshake of like, you don't put my business out there and I'm not going to put your business out there. Because there's a lot of things that I'm sure that America knows about these other nations that they haven't put out there.
Well, it's blackmail all the way down.
It's blackmail.
Okay.
It's Diddynomics.
It's Diddy.
On a global level.
That was a good clip, huh? Now stop, ring the bell, subscribe. See you next time.